Good
Maybe right
afternoon,
now.
everyone.
Hey Scott, how are you?
Good.
I was just killing time until you got on. So I was
Sorry, I had a
threatening to walk people through Flag myself with the rule book.
Great
one of
story.
our.
It's better that you're here. So
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see what we can do.
yes. So we're 5 minutes in, so I say let's just get started. Today's focus, at least for the first part, is all about flag. I will say, Scott, we've had a lot of questions, especially once we went through the rules exam.
Okay.
Lots of people said, "Uh-oh, I think I need to know more about flag." So I was happy. I was like, "Don't worry, we're just got coming in to talk about flag on Sunday." So, um, I don't know if you want to give us like an overview of like the top things we should be thinking about, or if people want to just, I think that's probably the best, and then people can start asking questions.
Okay, I can tell you that there's kind of two sources of questions, right? Some have
Hmm.
questions about the test. It's a true false, and we just took it right out of the rules. And then others have questions based on their experience on the field and some things they've run into. So I think I can start with the test.
Hmm.
And the most questions or the most asked about questions, right?
Yep.
Um, so the biggest question, biggest questions? There's three big questions, or three questions that are asked most frequently, or asked about most frequently. First one is spin, right? What
Yep.
is a spin, and when is that, or when should it be called? So conceptually, the spin rule or no spin rule is in play as a safety issue, right? Because if you do a blind spin, you just kind of spin. Uh, we see that there's people hitting heads, hitting knees, getting hurt, getting injured.
Hmm.
Now, in California, the no spin rule is a little unique, and it's a 360 or more, right? If you spin completely around, but if you take a half spin or like a jump cut type and spin to get out of that, that's
Right.
legal in California. That
Okay.
is legal in California. And honestly, if you really pay attention, I shouldn't say pay attention, but if you take a look at most quote unquote spins, that's where they're at. It's not a complete, spinning completely around. It's kind of a quarter, maybe a little bit more than a quarter to go into a different direction.
Hmm.
Now, when explaining to a coach, because a lot of people say, well, the coach is yelling, that's a spin, you can't spin, you can't spin. That's my recommendation to respond to a coach. Coach, change direction. She did spin, but she changed direction. She didn't continue in that straight line. Number one. And number two, most 360 spins are a jump. Somebody jumps and turns.
Hmm.
And remember, there's no leaping in flag.
Like,
There's no
right.
leaping.
Yep.
There's no diving. So you can't dive for a ball. You can't dive for a flag. Right? You can't jump over somebody. Those are all safety issues, and they're illegal. So biggest one is a spin. It has to be, the runner needs to continue in a straight line or more than that line, that straight line. I will say more often than not, it's not there. But it does happen. One official told me that they had four in one game, and it was on the same player, and it was very, very clear, and the coach was even upset about it. But the spin, um, if you think it's excessive, throw the flag, call a spin, and everybody's going to be okay with that. That make
Oh,
Yeah.
sense?
perfect. Yes.
Yeah. I've
Scott,
seen.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, Scott, this is Sean Brooks here. I had a question in regards to what I saw maybe 3 weeks ago. It was the Flag Football Championship on ESPN. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at that.
I
Did you get a
did.
chance? You did.
Yes.
Okay. And I spoke with our professor, Tim Pedraza, and he was under the impression that during that championship, they were spinning and they were calling a rightful touchdown. What do you think about that?
It's uh, uh, what I think. Those rules, that was correct.
Okay.
Those rules are different. It's not quite as egregious of the difference between NFL and Pop Warner, but those
Sure.
rules are different. Unfortunately, right now in the United States, there's 4 major flag rules, right? We have the NFL, right?
Sure.
The NFL flag. We have
Right.
Olympic. We have the Olympic rules, which are different.
Okay.
We have a Friday Night Lights, which is a pretty big program throughout the United States. And then we have national. The national is our California rules are based on opinions from the national rule that's not solidified. So we have the 4th rule book that's kind of changing almost, well, it changes every year for the past 3 years, and it's kind of changing, you know, as we work at this. But
is it because it's so new?
Go ahead. It's because it's new, and it's because, I mean, frankly, I was in a room with 35 people, and there was 37 opinions.
More than people.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's exactly, because, you know, we changed. So it's because it's new, and it's because of the target, right? So what do I mean by target? Who's playing the game, right? If you have, you know, you have adults playing the game, and it you know, there's adult leagues playing the game, and you're going to have, I'll say more directed and less safety. It's more fair play type rules, because
Sure.
adults are going to make their own choice, right? In high school, they're very, very, you know, safety, sportsmanship, fair play is
It's
how the
regulated.
Exactly.
Sure.
So
Okay.
they really, really want to take all of as much of the safety as they possibly can out of it. Flag football, there's no contact, there's no blocking downfield, right? So
Right.
that's why there's a difference mostly. And people are coming at it from, well, I've been doing flag for 20 years, and this is how we do flag. Well, I've been doing tackle for 20 years, and this is how we do football.
Okay.
Right? So that's kind of where it's at.
Do you believe that the only reason why California has indoctrinated the sport is because of the Olympic Games, which are in the next 4 years? Because, like you said, it's been around for 20 and
Right.
30 years. So it's nothing new to other states. But why now for California?
Well,
Did they mention that? Did those 37 opinions bring that up?
Yeah. In California being a sport, it's been talked about for at least 5 years that I know of, and it finally got to the point where parents and student athletes were going to sue the state.
Oh, it got to that point.
It got to that point. It's like, you're not allowing us to play this sport. It's sanctioned everywhere else. It's a safety. It's a safe sport when played correctly, and
Sure.
and you know and
Very
quite
interesting.
frankly, it started off as a girls' sport, right? It is now it's flag. These are the rules, and there is no restriction to only girls. But the rules are such that there's, you know, that's what it is, and that's how it's being promoted. Last year there were, I want to see if I get this right. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it was somewhere around 50 schools had flag football last year in San Diego. There's 73 this year. 73 went from roughly 50
was
to
it
over
all
70.
one particular school district, or was it more
No,
than one school?
It was all over the place. There were board meetings. Now, I wasn't at those, so this is hearsay, but I've been told that there were board meetings at certain schools, certain school districts, that parents showed up and said, "You better let us play," or
else.
Right, yeah,
Right.
and you know, some of it's, well, we don't have the money right now. Well, yeah, you had the money, you just don't want to prioritize it, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot.
The normal excuse.
I'm sorry.
The normal excuse from the school.
Yeah, normal excuse. Yeah, we don't have money. Well, you have, you know, 400 students and 700 teachers, so go figure.
And they're looking for their raises.
Yeah, I'm gonna add in there too. The push for girls' flag is a nationwide push, so it's not just a California thing. There's high school flag leagues popping up all over this place. Like, I know Utah was a big one, Kansas City, big one. I don't Tampa. There's a bunch. Anywhere I have friends who play tackle football, there's a flag football league popping up, and they're all becoming part of it. So it's not just the California push.
I've been asked to talk to school districts and officials associations in Utah, in
Mhm.
Texas, believe it or not, because they're
Yeah,
expanding.
they're huge.
Um,
Yeah.
in Florida, mostly around Tampa,
Right.
Ohio. There's one other. Can't
I
remember
know
the
New
other one.
Jersey.
Yeah.
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 So you're absolutely right, Katie. It's growing. I wouldn't be very surprised if within the next 5 years that there's two leagues, a girls' league and a boys' league,
Mhm.
where there's a lot of contact and people don't want to play football because unfortunately, I don't know if you guys read or heard, there was a player that died this weekend,
Oh.
head injury, head
Mhm.
injury, and
Wow.
unfortunately passed away. Tackle football. So there's going to be a lot of push, in my opinion, for flag as a football, right?
Substitute. Right.
Yeah. So hope
All
that
right.
answers your question, but let's go.
Sure. Absolutely. Scott, thank you.
Let's get back to the questions about the rules. Great discussion, but we have a lot of questions about the rules.
Sorry to break out like that, but yeah, I just had a question.
All right.
So the next talked about and asked about is a rush. What is a rush? What is the rush line? What happens? How does that break? So as a reminder, rush line is 7 yards. A player must be completely, they could be leaning over, but their feet need to be completely beyond 7 yards at the snap. So what does that mean? That means that if a player leaves early, they go on two. You might have seen this happen quite a bit. I have. They're at the rush line, offense goes on two, and on one, they step across that 7 yard line. There's nothing at that point. There is no issue.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And they called a flag on it
Yeah, if they stepped across
for false start.
and continue. No, if they step across, it's not an issue at that point. If they continue and go across the line of scrimmage, that is an illegal rush. Okay. They have to be 7 yards at the snap. Now, another question is they take that step over that 7 yard line, the ball is snapped, they step back behind the 7. Now, can they rush? And the answer is no. They have to be at 7 at the snap. They can't go back and then go back and rush. Okay. So, everybody that's working line judge, it's easy when there's one. It's kind of easy when there's two. There are a couple of teams that will put 5 players back behind the rush line. Okay, so you need to know what the numbers are, because if 2 of them go across and 3 stay back, right, you need to know that they were there. So it's important that you take a snapshot, that mental snapshot we've talked about. You take the snapshot at the snap that everybody has to be behind the 7 yard rush line. Now, the third question about a rush line, if somebody is at 7, they kind of false start, like somebody just said, and they run up to the line of scrimmage, but they don't pass. That is completely legal. There's no issue with that at all. They're only a rusher when they go beyond the line of scrimmage while the quarterback still has the ball. Now, the other thing about a rush, once the quarterback gets rid of the ball, everybody can rush. All 7 players can come across the line of scrimmage. There is no restriction at that point. Now, remember definition, quarterback is the one who receives the snap. If the quarterback hands or passes, gets rid of the ball, everybody can come across the line of scrimmage. That make sense?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So mechanically, one of the reasons why we have the head linesman on the line, and we want them to stay there as long as, until the quarterback gets rid of the ball, as much as they possibly can, because that helps with that rush, no rush. Did they cross? Did they not cross? Because the referee is not going to see that. The line judge is not going to see that because we're looking at it from a wrong angle. So mechanically, try to hold, if you're working head linesman on a flag game, try to hold that line until the ball is out of the quarterback's hands. That make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And then the third question, or the third concept that I get asked about a lot, is the no run zone and a quarterback running the ball. Okay. First of all, remember, no run zone, right? Look up the enforcement, make sure we understand, gloss it down, right? It's a run. but we go back. No run zone is 5 yards. Anything at 5 or in, so anything less than 5 yards to the line of game or the goal line is no run. Nobody can run. The ball has to be passed. Now the pass can be forward or back. It can be a shovel pass. It can be 2 inches, but it's a pass. It cannot be handed. That would be a run. So we have a pass behind the line of scrimmage to another player. The no run is off because it's no longer run. And it also means that all of the defense can come across the line, right? So
Right.
the question that most people have is, if the ball is passed and it is caught behind the line of scrimmage, isn't that a run? The answer is no. By the rule, if it's forward or backwards, as soon as that happens, that receiver now becomes a runner and can run the ball because it's not a run from the snap. The other question about no run and a quarterback running, remember that the quarterback can only run once per series. Last year it was per possession. This year it's per series. So once that series ends and a new series is awarded, quarterback can run again. They cannot run in the no run zone. No run is no run for everybody.
For everyone.
If they bring another quarterback in, if there's a new quarterback, but it's the same series, that new quarterback can't run. I think that makes perfect sense, but apparently it's confusing to some coaches.
Okay.
It's a different quarterback. No, that doesn't work that way. Now, the one that was most confusing, and I got 5 calls on this weekend, or this week. Let's say the quarterback ran from the 10-yard line on 3rd down and they scored.
Okay.
Okay. The team decides to go for 2. So they're outside of the no run zone. The quarterback can run again. A PAT is a non-time down, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's a special down. Let me say it that way, because in a flag it's untimed. I'm sorry, it's timed in the running portion. Mm-hmm. So, but it's a new down. It's effectively a new series. It just happens to be a 1-play series. So if they're outside of the no run zone, going for 2, or there's a penalty that takes them out of the no run zone, and the quarterback had previously ran, they can run on a PAT. That makes sense?
Totally.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so those are the ones that are most confusing to some. But I don't know if you have something else you want to talk about.
Since we're on the question of that right now, Scott, can I just ask one question for both of those that you just said right now? Well, with the are they both? Is the foul an illegal run? And I'm assuming the answer is yes to that. But with that is, what's the signal for an illegal run? There's no illegal run signal in the back of the.
Yeah. So here's for signals. This is something that I was taught a long time ago, and I use it. I don't know if it's right, but I use it. But it is correct in this one. It's a procedure, right? It's a procedure call. So what is procedures? Yeah, it's the squirrel cage. I have an illegal run, it's procedure call, illegal procedure, illegal run, offense, right?
Okay.
That makes sense. So what I learned, when in doubt, roll it out.
I like it.
So I had 2 flag games this week that the no run zone, for some reason, and it was first flag games, my referee said, no, it's only on the quarterback and not on all runners. That was weird, I think, in the moment for me, but it's good to clarify here.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I'll try to get something else to remind everybody: no run is no run is no run. Doesn't matter who it is.
And then with the no run zone, Scott, it's pretty clear in the rule book, but just to say it out loud to make sure that I've got it 100% in my head, the no run zone doesn't allow more than 3 players within 4 yards of the ball. So that's going to include the snapper, the quarterback, and that means there can only be one other offensive player within 4 yards of the ball, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So the idea behind that, the thought behind it, just so you can get it in your head what it looks like. Let's say that it's 4th and 1, and you're in the no run zone, right?
Okay.
Okay, and you stack everybody right by the center.
Okay.
It's a non-contact game, right?
Mhm.
So everybody goes 3 yards down, right? Stops, and the center is behind them with a screen.
Hmm.
There's no way to defend that.
Yes, it's an advantage.
It's an advantage. So the rule forces the spread so they don't have that advantage.
But hypothetically, outside the no run zone, no matter what, you can't block or screen anyway. So if they even did that in any other method outside the no run zone, that's going to be illegal blocking, correct?
Well, if they're blocking, but they have a right to the position on the field, right?
Yeah.
So
So
so defense can't get in front of defense can hold their position,
Mhm.
right? But as soon as they hold their position, I got everybody stacked. Trust me, if I can put 6 on the line, I'm going to get 3 yards every single time. There's nothing you do to defend it, because
Right.
once you hold your position, somebody releases, right?
Mhm.
We go around, because you can hold your position if you're there within but you can't hold your position. You can't establish your position within a yard, right?
Mhm.
So defense has to be a yard off, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's the rationale behind it, is to make that play fair for everybody, to execute correctly, execute safely and fairly. Does that help?
Yes, that helps.
Yeah, it
One other
does.
one other question for you, Scott.
Mhm.
This is Sean,
I
and I
gather
had a
it's the only
question.
one.
Yeah, I had a question that you had mentioned. You mentioned that there was 4 flag leagues, and wasn't familiar with all of the flag leagues. What can you let me know what plays would be different? For example, it doesn't have to be a lot, like maybe one rule or one uh, player lineup that's different from what we're doing with the national flag as opposed to NFL flag or Olympic flag.
Yeah, so Olympic flag, you can run, offense can run in screen, right?
Oh, offense can run.
Right.
Okay.
And ours, we can't do that. That's one. The
Thank you.
opposite on ours, another one is the quarterback can throw the ball away, basically at any time in our league, right? There is
Okay.
intentional grounding in Olympic league.
Okay.
So there's a few differences. There's just a couple of examples I can think of off the top of my head.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so Katie, crew, those are my top 3. I don't know if we want to continue with some others, but I think I might go through the excuse me, the quiz.
Could I ask one other clarification question, Scott?
Sure.
Signal 51 at the end. I don't even know what that is. It looks like it looks like our roughing the kicker call. But it has an arrow going up. Does that indicate that they're lifting their leg somehow, or just wondering what that signal is? Okay.
Yeah, so that's you see the box that's around that, right? Because they're trying to change that signal because there's no kicking in flag,
Right.
right? That signal is running into the kicker and tackle. So it's basically a kicking motion, a short kicking motion.
Okay.
In tackle, if Dave's on, correct me if I'm wrong. It's the same. That part of the signal that's for running into. You precede that with a personal foul, and that's roughing the kicker. But yeah, it's basically taking 1 foot and raising it like a kicking motion.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, one other question I have, or that I've heard questions about, is I forget what we call it in our rule book, but impeding the rusher. Basically, where the receiver goes out for a route and they get in the way of the rusher.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's a form of an illegal block, right? So again, all players, offense and defense, have themselves on and I'm sorry, establish their position on the field. In flag, it's very similar to a charge in basketball, right? You can establish yourself, hold your position. You have the arms in front of you, arms to your side,
Okay.
hands out in front of you to protect yourself. But you can't move or lean to impede the rusher while they're coming towards the quarterback or the runner. So impeding is basically leaning into and blocking them. Okay. I get them down when I almost tossed a coach Tuesday because the offensive player that's on the line would take a step back and move to their left or to the right, depending on what side of the ball on the snap. They would move as the rusher's coming in, but they would do that 2-3 yards before the rusher got there. So they are getting in the way of the rusher, but they're doing it more than a yard away from that rusher. And they stop and hold their ground. At that point, the rusher has to avoid that contact and go around them. If the rusher doesn't change their direction and runs into them, that's illegal contact on the defense. If the blocker leans into them as they're running by them, as the rusher is going by them and the blocker leans in or reaches out or does something like that, you have illegal contact, an illegal block by on the offense. So the key is the distance, the timing of that, and the motion of either the defense or offensive player. Does that make sense? Trying to paint the picture with words here.
Sure. It's like charging, like you said.
Yeah, it's
Someone has to establish position.
Right. You can't undercut in basketball. Somebody's going up for a shot and you undercut them. That's that. Or somebody's driving the lane and you step in front of them, right as they're getting to you. Well, that's a foul, and it's the same here. Now
it's like a dirty play as well.
Yeah, downfield, it's a little bit different because there's no blocking at all downfield. So what I just described, it really isn't a block. You establish position, you hold position, make the rusher go around you, right? Downfield, there is no establishing. You can't run and impede. So even though there's no contact, if a defensive player has to go around a moving offensive player, right? They don't stop after the catch, or they don't stop after the line of scrimmage is crossed by a runner. If they continue to run, that's a screen and illegal block. There's no contact, so we don't have an illegal contact, but we have an illegal block because they're basically screening and forcing that defender to alter their course towards the ball carrier, the runner.
Okay.
That make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that it's to blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. I can't do that.
Get it all out at one time.
Yeah. My recommendation is establish your standard, right? What is your calibration for that? Unfortunately, we don't have film, so we can't all sit around and watch film and say, okay, this one is a foul, this one is not. What you're going to see is 3 or 4 players around the pass, and somebody's going to catch it, and everybody's moving at the same time, right? And at that point, it's likely that a defender is going to have to go around somebody. To me, that's not a foul. It's like incidental contact on a pass interference or a pass play, right? Incidental contact, their feet get tangled up, they both fall down. That's not pass interference. That's where my standard is, where my calibration is. what a illegal screen or illegal block downfield to me is when somebody intentionally is doing it. They're running with the runner, right? Or they're running between the runner and the defender, and they're continuing to run 3, 4, 5 steps or more. That to me is where that threshold is. That becomes that screen, that illegal block. But you're also going to see absent-minded players. You know, they're running down the field. Somebody else gets the ball, and they just kind of continue to jog, watching the play go downfield, not realizing that there's a defender behind them trying to get around them. I throw on that, even though it wasn't intentional. It is causing a problem, and I will throw a flag on that, and that's an illegal block. But it's that immediate incidental type action that I don't throw on. But you set your standards and be consistent with it, right? One of the keys to officiating is being consistent. So if you're gonna do if you do first quarter, you do it, you know, or first half, you do second half. And if you do week 1, you should be doing it week 4. Does that help, Kitty?
Yes, that's great. We have a couple of questions from Malik, who is unable to get off mute. So I'm going to ask them. He put in the chat. He used, I called you Steve, not Scott. But rule 14 passing the offense. Okay, for rule 14 for passing, the offensive team may throw an unlimited number of backward passes during any play. Correct? Can you explain?
Yeah. So just like in tackle, backwards pass is a backwards pass is a backwards pass. It's not a forward pass. You only have one forward pass during a down. So quarterback gets the ball, pitches it back to halfback runs around, scrambles around, pitches it backwards to the quarterback, who then throws it, you know, downfield. Backward passes don't count towards that forward pass. And let me pull that rule up though, because I want to check one thing real quick.
It says rule 14 was the citing he had.
Yeah. Because I want to make sure I'm doing it right from this year. Just last year, it actually said that they can have any unlimited passes, forward or back. So Rule 14, Section 1.
He just said rule 14. He didn't give me a section.
Yeah, so give me a second to see if I can find it. So I don't want to make sure.
I've got it in 5.8.
Thank you.
But 5.8 2. 5.8.2.
I wonder why he's referencing.
But this one's where like which is gameplay for the offense. That's the part I find the most useful, gameplay for the offense and defense. But it kind of just repeats what's already been stated in a lot of the other sections before that.
Yeah, one of the challenges with the rule book is that there's some repetition and some contradiction a little bit. But
yeah,
that makes a great rule book.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Working on it. Sorry, you said 5.8?
5.8.2.
Offensive team may throw an unlimited number of backward passes during any play. Yeah. Okay. So last year it was unlimited forward or back. We cleaned that up. Just like in tackle, you can pitch the ball backwards as many times as you want, as long as you're still behind the line of scrimmage. You only have one forward pass. If you're beyond the line of scrimmage, you can have any number of backward passes, but you cannot throw the ball legally forward once you're beyond the line of scrimmage. What you normally will see in this is you'll see a kind of a pitch to a running back. Quarterback will get the snap. They'll pitch it backwards to
right
the running back. They'll run to one side, and then they'll pitch it back to the quarterback, who they'll then throw it downfield. Keys on that are for the referee, what direction that first or previous, anything prior to the first pass, what direction did they go? And it was actually a pass. A handoff in front, a forward handoff, is only legal behind the line of scrimmage. A forward handoff, you can have. Think about this for a second. A forward handoff, you can, as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage, which is a legal handoff. You can have a forward pass after that. But if it is a pitch forward, a little double pass or something like that, then you cannot have another forward pass. That help?
Yes.
Yes,
you.
I'm gonna say yes from Malik, even though he can't talk. He had one more. So he had a situation where it's regarding deflagging. So he had a situation, he was a line judge. Receiver bobbled the ball, but eventually caught it. The defender pulled the flag during the bobble, so there was no before possession had been gained. And he's asking if that deflag before the ball was possessed is a foul.
No. The only time it is a foul is when it's obvious that player is not either attempting to or has the ball, right? So another non-deflag foul, if the quarterback fakes a handoff to a runner who is successful in that fake and kind of doubles over like they're holding the ball and runs to the side, and somebody goes to defend them and pulls the flag, that fake negates the deflag because they could have had the ball, right? If the ball is being bobbled, it's prudent for the defender to pull the flag, right? Because they don't catch or no catch. So it's not a deflagging. But at that point, the player receiver is without both flags when they gain control of the ball. So now we're in a touch situation where the receivers could be touched, right?
So
one hand touch, but it's not a deflagging foul.
If they pulled it before the ball was possessed, you still have to tag.
Correct.
Okay.
If the player loses their flag, either through illegal or legal action, then gains possession, they need to be touched. If they have control of the ball and then lose flag, right, it's dead. Even if they pull it themselves or falls off.
Wait, sorry, what was that last part you said, Scott? Once they have control and the flag just falls off, it's dead?
It's dead at that spot. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think they went over this in one of the classes last week, that if the flag falls off, then one hand just has to touch a player. Is that correct?
Okay. Again, if a player loses their flag prior to possessing the ball, once they possess the ball, then one hand touch is required.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
If the player has control of the ball and the flag comes off, it's dead at that spot.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got you. It makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Harumi, did you want to ask your questions? Do you need me to read them for you?
Nope. I had two that I think are hopefully simple. The penalty chart has diving under 5 yard and 10 yard.
Yes.
And just trying to understand the difference there.
The difference is it shouldn't be in 5. It's a 10-yard foul.
All right. I love it. That's easy.
Yep.
The second one, we had Jeff put this in our chat, and I thought it was a good question. We're running clock all game. Do we stick to our mechanics if we have like an out of bounds play? Do we want to stop the clock outside of the final 2 minutes, or is that under the discretion of our white hat?
Do what the white hat tells you to. I will tell you to work your mechanics. Always work your mechanics. Yeah. We can always restart the sense. Yeah. We can restart the clock if necessary, but communication with the clock operator. My recommendation to my line judge is when you talk to the clock operator, only the last 2 minutes. So if you see us stopping the clock prior to that, you don't stop the clock. They'll do it, and all you do is from white hat just point it. Right.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then Jeff,
Scott,
go
ahead, Katie.
No, I was going to ask you to ask the question you put in the chat the other day about overtime.
Yeah, I was going to say that one for the. Okay. I had one more quick one. This should be an easy one. I know for a quarterback, Scott, it's in the rule book. It says the quarterback has to be at least 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage to receive the ball. But on the video that Cougar sent out that said, "Hey, check out this flag football video," which was a CIF They said it's supposed to be 4 yards. I just want to make sure that it actually is, it is 2 yards. Because that video, I don't know how old the video is. They just said 4 yards. I just want to clarify or if that was one thing that was up for debate or anything.
Not up for debate. It's 2 yards.
Okay, 2 yards.
2 yards of merge, and it's a video from last year. And northern section had, or a northern section had it at 4. They're going to put the video together.
Okay. And then what Katie was just talking about in 4-9, the fouls during a try or an overtime after a change of team possession. I don't even necessarily know the specific questions to ask. I just read it and I just kind of just get lost in it. And I'll be the first to say is I'm not an experienced white hat by any means. Maybe a white hat like Dave reads this and he's like, no, it makes total sense. But I read it and I get lost in it, especially when live ball fouls are treated as dead ball fouls. And then it's saying if both teams foul during the down and the defensive team had not fouled before the change of possession, the foul is canceled, blah, blah, blah. I was wondering if we could kind of walk through those.
Sure. We definitely can. So we're talking about overtime, right? That is in
all 4-9, I believe.
Yeah, rule 4, I think it's 11, right? 4-11.
Oh, well, I guess it says fouls during a try or an overtime. I guess in 4-9, it's after a change of team possession.
Fouls during a try and overtime, and 4-10-9. I'm talking about on the try. Because 4.
Oh yes, 4-10-9. You're correct. I'm sorry.
Okay.
4-10-9.
Okay. Scored by a team committing a foul during a down is canceled and the down is not repeated. So if A fouls, right? So they basically cheated the score. They don't get a chance to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we take it off. Live ball fouls treated as dead ball fouls. So the reason that exception exists there is live ball fouls treated as dead ball, right, are on the next play. They don't get that play. So let's think about tackle for just a moment. That's how I like to compare it, right? You have a live ball foul treated as dead ball. An example of that would be horse collar, right? Because horse collar, it's a live ball until you cheat. And then you make the tackle and it's dead ball. So it's treated as dead ball. It's there. So that would be on the subsequent down. That's why it's an exception, because it is enforced. On 9A, the down is not repeated. There's no enforcement. You just cancel it. There's no enforcement with that. So that's what the exception is there. Everybody get that? Understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so both team fouls during the down and the defensive team had not fouled before the change of possession. The foul's canceled and down is not repeated. So we have a foul on both teams, right? Mm-hmm. In normal play, we would cancel that, right? They would be offsetting live ball foul, offset, and we would repeat that, right? But think about 9A for a moment. A cheated. They don't get a chance to replay the down, right? Even though B cheated too, A doesn't get a redo because they cheated. So that's why it's a little bit different than there. Both teams fouled during the down and the defense had not fouled before a change of possession. Right? Again, look at the first one. Fouls during a try or overtime after a change of team possession. So A cheats. B, what would B do? Normally, they would decline the foul on A and get possession of the ball, right? Since this was fouled before, they also cheated. They don't get the ball clean hands. They don't get to do anything. So both team foul, change possession, don't get it. Okay. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Penalties against each team are declined by rule. It's kind of a repeat of B, but there's an exception here. Penalties for flagrant personal fouls, unsportsmanlike fouls, conduct fouls, dead ball fouls, right? Live ball treated as dead ball. We just talked about that. It's enforced from the succeeding spot. So penalties on each team are declined by rule with the exception of something that's flagrant or dead ball. Okay. Now here's the rub here. This is one that I hope that we're going to get clarification on. I'm trying to get clarification on. Think about this for a second. So there's a change of possession. because we have a live ball on PATs, right?
Mhm.
On tries, and we have live balls during overtime. If B gets the ball, change of possession, and then commits a flagrant foul. Somebody just comes and blows a player up, as an example, illegal block, flagrant, right? Okay. Normally we put the ball on the 20 because the PAT is no good. We give B the ball on their 20 and we start the play. And what this is saying right now is we put the ball on the 20 and then enforce taking it back to the 10, right?
Okay.
So what do we do, right? We never start a series first and 15 or first and 25, right? We always started first and 10. When there's a change of possession, it's first and 10.
Right.
So we move it back from the 20 and put it on the 10. Where's the first down? Where's the line to gain? It could be first and 10 from the 10.
Okay, that makes sense.
First and 20.
All right.
Right? It's not going to be first and 30. It's
Uh-huh.
going to be first and 10. Okay. What I'm suggesting is do what the rule book says. It's enforced from the succeeding spot. It could be first and 10. I'm trying to get clarification on this. What we want to do, I think, is we're going to do something with this other than this. But move the ball back 10 yards because of flagrant foul on B and go from there. Okay, does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay.
I just got to read it more times as everything you're saying, but it's making sense what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 9D, fouls by B during a successful try.
That's good, yeah.
They take the result or repeat it down by moving it up, right? So just you got to remember that, and I've had this, right? They're going for 2, right? So we put the ball on the 10, and then we have a false start. So now we put it on the 15, right? Okay, put it on 15. Now we have a foul by B, right? The encroachment. We move it up back to the 10. And we have another encroachment by B. We move it up to the 5. They're still going for 2.
Yep.
Right? Even though they snap the ball first on the try from the 5, in that particular case, they're going to go for 2. So just make sure you have something to use to remind yourself that they're going for 2. I think E's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I got E.
Yeah, you lose the down, you don't get to go again, right?
Right.
Yeah, a live ball foul series, dead ball fouls at the option of the offended team may be carried over to the next series of downs and enforced where the ball is match put in play. So this is one of those, it gets back to what I was just talking about, is where we put the ball in, what the series is. If A is successful, right, they can have that foul enforced on the succeeding spot, but it will make it first and whatever, right? Or they can move the ball up half and do it again. Right?
All right,
so,
yep.
So they can put the ball on the 5 and try for 2 if they were trying for 2. Again, this is something we're trying to get some more clarification. Here's the thing that's a little interesting to me about this and the way that the words are. Okay, and if they start with 1, they're going from the 5, right? Half the distance goes from the 5. They don't get to say, I'm going to go for 2 now and put it on the 5. It's still a try for 1. Does that make sense?
Yep, it makes sense.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I was mostly getting really confused on B and C, and then the exceptions to A, and then also to C. But yeah, what you're saying, I grabbed those notes. I just need to read it more. It's funny. Randy and I worked yesterday with Bob Hood, and we totally screwed up a try. result, but it's all right. Randy, I don't know if you remember which one I'm talking about, but
Yeah. I was gonna
Yeah,
bring
we'll
it
put,
up.
yeah, we put that on Bob.
no, we're good. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I think I'm tracking.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
One more Malik question. Overtime rule, 13D live ball foul treat. Oh, maybe this is the same thing we just talked about. Yeah, we just talked about that. Never mind. All right.
Okay.
Other questions from the crowd? I think we all have like a couple games under our belts. Everybody's getting ready for a lot more of them.
Yeah, it was good just to get those games under the belt. That just helps to like just get it and
Make it real.
there's other mistakes here that I won't even bring up here, but I'm like, there's a mistake I made in the game. I was like, ugh. I knew it right after I made it too, but I'm like, you know what, just go with it.
Yeah.
But it was good. Ready for more.
Right. I had 4 flags, and I think I got those right, but I had four tackling scoot up on every one of those. So go figure. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
What else do we want to cover?
I think you guys have any other flag questions?
I don't.
Any tackle questions? I think the other thing we're gonna do is pull up some film from this week. You can just go over that. But all right. As I've said, I'm in a hotel with hotel Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna, if people want to share their clips, it'd be great if you can do it on your end, because I don't know how well it'll be super choppy on my end. Anyone have stuff they want to pull up? Or Dave, can you pull up? Did you get Malik's? Or he didn't share it, right?
No, he shared the whole scrimmage.
Oh.
Let me do something here. I'm just looking at my game on Thursday. And let me
Or
see
Hero,
this.
if you can pull up that one from the Discord. I don't know if you have Discord on your computer that Mohammed shared with the punchback. I think that'd be a good one to look at too.
Yes, I've got the Discord up. I can share my screen. Is it dangerous to share the Discord though? I'm just playing. I'll pull the play up.
Yeah, my crew is on Discord too.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna download it and then I got it here.
Okay.
All right, 1 second. See my screen okay?
Yep.
All right. Already, I'm gonna just go play. Mohammed, I know you're still audio only, but we had a backwards pass. Mohammed punches back. No whistle from his side, but we've got incomplete rulings from referee and line judge.
What did you guys rule on that?
I think they,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, since Mohammed hasn't said a word out, they ended up ruling it as an incomplete pass. And then he went over and talked to the white hat about it. And then they talked about it after the game.
Okay, so the
Yeah, it was
referee
incomplete.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mohammed.
I don't know if he's able to talk right now per his text.
Okay.
He's literally
So-
in the Shamu show right now. That's what he just said. So
So right here,
That's good.
as a crew chief, as a referee, I would expect you to come up to me and tell me what you actually had. And then I would have probably gone with your call because that is your call. And that's not the referee's call. All right. So this would be one of those times that if I was a referee doing that type of stuff, in fact, I wouldn't be signaling at all. I would wait for the flanks to signal because I can't tell if it's a backward or forward pass. That's your call. So
So from what you just said, Dave, it's then an inadvertent whistle?
no,
No?
well, not if they well, that would depend on the whistle or when it actually happened. But here it looks like the play was died. Is this you, Hero?
No, this is Muhammad's play.
Bahamas play? Okay, so depending on when the whistle blew, it's clearly backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on when the whistle blew, the umpire isn't doing anything. This is the flanks call all the way. The referee shouldn't even be calling this because it's not an empty hands call. So this is the flanks call all the way, and the referee should have listened to the flank.
According to what Muhammad said earlier, he said he punched back and the referee called incomplete without looking at either flank, and he ran up to him. After the whistle, he ran up and told the referee what he had, and the referee stayed with incomplete.
Yeah, so the referee's wrong. He should have gone with the flank.
Can you run this again, please?
Because it's clearly backwards.
They stop it right here. Right here. Stop. You're running back just a few. So Dave, I agree with Dave 100% on this, right? This is not the referee's call. This is the flank's call, and the referee needs to help, needs to look. That's my perception on this. I'm not saying the referee's wrong. There's lots of reasons why they're going to do what they're going to do. What I wanted to point out is Muhammad's the line judge. I'm sorry, the head line judge, correct? Town judge?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he's clearly back with a punch, right? If you run it just a little bit, your line judge looks, well, let me say it a different way. It doesn't look like the line judge looked back at all.
Right. Because he would have signaled too.
Right. So we talk about crew communication. We talk about pregame, right? You need to make sure as much as you possibly can that you are on lockstep with both, the flanks need to know exactly what the signals are going to be, right? And the other thing about this is, so Muhammad, you have a backwards pass. Cool. Your line judge is moving back to get that spot. My question to Muhammad, could you have moved back and sold your backwards pass a little bit more?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the line judge's hat, he never looks at Muhammad. He's just looking at the ball.
Right.
What he should have done is picked up. So if you watch, he's right there. He's looking at the ball. Never sees Muhammad. And this is where, like Scott was saying, crew communication. And Muhammad should have gone back to the back as well, because if it is a backward pass, then he's going to have the spot 5 yards back. So he's kind of got to react to that play too.
And yeah, you need to Dave's words, right? You have to react to that and be prepared to sell that. You got it backwards. You got it backwards. Go in and make sure that everybody knows. Then let the white hat make the decision. If he decides it's forward pass, then that's his call. But my question to everybody, what's your communication to the white hat if you have this backwards? Do you let it go? Well, it's white hat. He decided that's what it is, okay? Or do you go in and sell it and say, hey, this is what I have. I know that this was backwards. What's the communication, right?
Well, it seems like it would be a challenge for the referee at that point.
Okay, I don't know who the referee is. I don't care who the referee is.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
And I'm going to say for myself, I'm very, very confident that Dave's going to agree with me. If you got positive information about it, tell me about it. I don't care. You're challenging me. My ego is left. My ego is at my house. It's not there on the field.
Is that
right?
right, Scott? Okay, that's good.
You leave the, I've heard it my entire career. Leave your ego in the locker room, and we definitely should. White hat needs to hear this positive information because the primary role for us is to get it right. So
Okay.
if a white hat doesn't accept that, right? Cool. At least you did your job. But I would be. I'm not going to say I'm going to be surprised because people are people are people. But
Sure.
I'm telling you, from my perspective, the challenge. It's not a challenge. It's positive information. Dave, I'm sure you have the same opinion.
No, and I told the class, just to let you know, Scott, I told the class, I go, I don't care if I'm a 34-year experienced official and I have two-year flanks. They have to come over and talk to me and say, hey, Dave, I think it's a backward pass. And if I ruled it, if I was a referee of this game, I expect the second-year officials to come over and say something to me. I don't want them to just sit on the sideline and say, well, Dave's got 34 years. He's got 15 years more times two between the two of us. We want to get it right.
Yep.
This is the type of stuff I see on film right now. If you guys don't talk to me, I'm more pissed off that I'm seeing this on film than you guys come on over here and say something to me.
Okay.
Well, you definitely can't put it on tape.
And this would leave a bad taste in my mouth if you guys didn't say anything to me. So Muhammad did the right thing by talking to the referee and then letting the referee make the final decision. But if I was a referee and changed it and stayed with my call, chances are pretty good this was an inadvertent whistle.
Yeah.
And that's why it was an incomplete pass.
Got it.
Yeah, which leads me to a question. I think everyone on the call could leave their ego at the door. However, if you encounter a referee who cannot leave their ego at the door, how do you handle that situation?
Away.
Excuse me?
Just do your job and then walk away.
Okay.
Okay. So
you can't argue with the referee. It looks bad on the field.
It sure does.
If he doesn't accept whatever you have to say, then just go ahead and go back to your position, but don't stop doing your job.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it happens again during the course of the game, regardless of what he did the last time, you do still want to go talk to him. Because then if it goes to Steve Coover,
right,
Coover was going to ask, well, did Dave Garza go and talk to the referee? He goes, well, yeah. And then suddenly then it's on the referee and not the whole crew.
So can I just confirm something? So Scott, you were saying, for Muhammad here, after punching back, sort of follow. We're going to sort of slide down on the sideline here, go towards the ball. Dave, that same for you. Sort of walk with it.
Yeah.
So that we're sort of in line there. Okay. So let's say we don't have any whistle at all here, right? No whistle happens, but we've got folks signaling incomplete. But we see it was clear recovery by White, by the defense. If Muhammad runs in and says, hey, I've got clear recovery and I got a backwards pass and there was no whistle, can we say that's first down White ball?
Yeah.
Okay. But once we have the inadvertent whistle before clear recovery possession of that fumble, inadvertent whistle is going to be replay down. Okay. Got it.
Interesting.
One more thing to say about that. If your referee, quote unquote, doesn't listen to you, right?
Okay. All right.
So what happens, and like Dave said, okay, take that, go continue to do your job. There have been times in my career, because of things with the game or some other information, that I'll say, okay, great, we're going to go incomplete. At halftime, if it was the first half or after the game, I'm going to go explain to that official why I did what I did.
Sure.
Okay. not all white hats are going to do it. Like you said, if you have a situation where they're not listening to you, continue to do your job, because there may be something that you don't know, and you don't want to shut down because of that. So continue to do it. And just like the other side, leave your ego at the door. You were told, nope, don't let that get to you. Okay, great. I'm told no. I gave the information that I needed. I did my job, and I'm going to be happy with the fact that I did my job, and I'm going to continue to do that. So just another piece of that is there may be something that you know, I got that backwards. You know, I'm not going to say that I would do it in this situation. Obviously not. But you know, if it's a 98-2 game,
Right.
right? You know, and it's the team that would get possession of it that gets this, and I can go with an incomplete and keep everybody from just, you know, moaning and stuff.
Right.
I might do that. I'm not saying I would in this game. There's situations, there's reasons behind that. So don't just think that the white hat's an asshole. A lot of us are. I know that I am, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a reason there. So continue to do your job to the best of your ability. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just continue to do your job. Yeah, just continue to do your job and let the referee, you know, I'm a calm referee, so I don't get too excited out there. So,
Sure. Well,
but,
it's not all about ego. I mean, it can also be about trusting your team as well.
well, and that's what it is. You got to trust the 5 guys you're working
Yeah,
with.
it's
And
a
that's
trust
why I
factor.
wait. I would never make a signal on that play. I would look to the flanks to see what they did. So I wouldn't do a signal like that. And that's the part about being too much of in a hurry.
Right.
You know, and that's where you blow inadvertent whistles, is being too much in a hurry. And I'm not sure, I wasn't on that game, but the chances are pretty good it was an inadvertent whistle and they were trying to hide it. And that's 2 errors made on one game play.
Yeah, I'm sorry it happened to Muhammad, but you know,
Oh,
situations.
it happens to all of us.
Right.
It'll happen to all of us. And it's happened to me more than once. As a referee, and as a person who has blown an inadvertent whistle.
Sure.
So,
Both ways. Both sides.
Yep. As a referee, blown an inadvertent whistle when the handoff, the fake handoff, fooled me. That person got tackled, and he's going the other way for 6, and I'm blowing my whistle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you ever get San Pasquale is great at handing off. And it looks like 90% of the time, it looks like the guy's been tackled while the ball's on the way 20 yards downfield. So
yeah, that's a pretty good fake.
No, we get a lot of San Pasquale games, and I'm sure Scott's worked them where we don't have whistles at all because of that.
All right. Anybody have any other film you want to pull up? Otherwise, here I'm going to make you pull up the one that Brady posted.
I'm gonna pull up mine real quick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I've watched this a couple times, and I'm definitely second guessing what happened on the field. All right, we got to kick off. Player goes out of bounds. Ball. Did my screen work?
No,
No, we're not seeing anything yet.
All right. Player goes out of bounds, comes back inbounds, but the question is when. And then I'll try to slow it down a little. I'll do a replay.
Oh, just jumped.
I'll fast forward, and I'm gonna just go in slow. Player goes out of bounds. Looks like he might have reestablished inbounds first, but I almost think he touched it while out of bounds. Go ahead, Brady. Sorry.
When we get a chance, Malik had a question about the last player in chat.
Okay. Well, watching this over, I feel like he was still out of bounds, and I think that makes it as simple as, hey, player's out of bounds, touches the ball. while he's out of bounds.
It's
But
a kick out of bounds.
yeah, so it's a kick out of bounds. We discussed it and we had ruled, hey, he reestablished inbounds, and so
Well,
But
first of all,
oh,
there's no reestablishing in bounds,
no,
right?
not from A or K.
not from A or K, but
Okay.
what about R? Right?
R and B, if they go, correct if I'm wrong here, Dave, but R and B could go out of bounds and then they could reestablish themselves as long as they didn't intentionally go out of bounds.
Yeah, but he intentionally went out of bounds.
Yeah, he went out of bounds unassisted. He just ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
But even if it's unassisted, I mean, just intentionally would mean like you purposely made your way out of bounds is what I'm saying.
Yeah. This is a free kick out of bounds.
Yeah, I would make it simple. Free kick out of bounds, re-kick or 35.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Because otherwise it would be, if you have him coming back in because he was not pushed, right? Then you get in the whole intentional, did he mean to go out of bounds? Did he didn't mean to go out of bounds? Blah, 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 blah.
Illegal participation, and now you're making everybody think.
Yep. And kick out of bounds, 35, 5 yards re-kick. Let's go.
Okay.
Hero, can you show it one more time just for the sake of everything we said, just to absorb it one more time?
Yeah. Right there. Just say,
Okay.
hey, he touched it while he's out of bounds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he went around it to like get a good running start on the third turn.
Right.
Good lesson
So-
learned though.
Yeah.
So this type of kick, just real quick, if you don't mind, this type of kick is becoming more and more and more, I don't say popular, but what they're trying to execute, right? They want a little pooch kick, they're right around the 30-yard line, have it dead there. So nobody has, and you want to pin them on the sideline, right? So you have better coverage with this. If this is what they're trying to do, and it's near that sideline, and you have a question about out of bounds, not out of bounds, I'm going to make life easier for you. Go out of bounds.
Okay.
So if you look at illegal participation, it basically says no player shall intentionally go out of bounds during the down and return to the field, intentionally touch the ball, influence the play, or otherwise participate. So this would have been an illegal participation foul when he came back in.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so you want to keep this as simple, like Scott was saying, and like I said earlier, you want to keep it as simple as possible. Free kick out of bounds, and then go from there.
Okay. So I was in a place where, I think I had a pretty blessed to have a experienced crew. So I didn't argue when they started talking about reestablishing. I was like, okay. Yeah. So, but no,
I
this
don't
makes a lot of
think
sense.
there's reestablishing in high school.
Got it.
Not like in college and NFL. We don't have reestablishing rules. Is that correct, Scott?
That's correct.
So we don't have reestablishing in high school.
That's what happens when I work with a bunch of college guys then.
You're learning the college rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's that's why you have to know the rules better.
Yep.
Oh. All right. Rewinding back to the first clip we watched, Malik had a question that if the coach on Muhammad's sideline wanted an explanation, which I believe they did. I think Muhammad said they were pretty irate because they saw the punchback. Would you call the referee over to talk to the head coach?
The referee would have to take contact because it's an unusual game situation. You would have to go talk to him.
Okay.
Especially since the clock has stopped. Now, if it was running, then I wouldn't do it. But this is an incomplete pass, I would go talk to the coach.
Got it.
But it's a hard sell for a referee to do because I guarantee you, if it's a coach with any experience, he's going to sit there and go, "How can you call that?" He's the one that called it.
Mohammed did say that the sideline did see him punching back.
Yeah, and they got pretty mad. But apparently Muhammad handled them because he's a pro.
Well, that's good. It's the way it should be. The flanks
Yeah.
official should take care of the referee.
Yeah.
But the referee, if he's not going to go with the call of the flanks, he needs to go tell the referee. I mean the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't let my flank hung out to dry like that.
Yeah, if I were working with Dave and I was in Muhammad, I would try to handle that.
Yeah.
Right? If they're still adamant with it and the clock is running, something to the effect of, coach, we'll get his attention, get him over here when the game allows. Okay. Or something to that effect. Because what you don't want to do is stop the clock if it's running.
Yeah.
Right.
They have to call a timeout.
Right.
For us to go talk to him. Then if we change the call, then we can give him his timeout back and redo everything.
So, but if you need to, the White Hat's there to help. And, you know,
well, you should.
Yeah, exactly.
He should. If he's going to overturn your call, he should be the one to talk to the coach.
Yep.
Not the other way around. Muhammad should have had to go and talk to the coach. It's got to be the referee. Now, if the referee went with Muhammad's call, then Muhammad could take care of his sideline. We'd be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I would have gone with Muhammad or with my whoever flank I would have gone with. But it is all about trust.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Whether you're a second-year official or whether you're a 40-year official, our expectations as a crew chief is that you get the call right.
Yeah, as a team.
Yeah, and that's what Scott and I expect. I don't care if you're a second year. I mean, you're on a varsity game for a reason.
Yeah, if you see it, you see it.
Yeah, and and we work with everything else after that. So, but that
like
goes to show you,
it doesn't look like the referee was actually looking at.
Well, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to look. Yeah. I don't look at my four guys when I'm on the field, so half the time I wouldn't know what everybody did until I look at it on game film. And if I start looking at Katie being my back judge and Hero looking at my line judge and Jeff being my head linesman, then I fail in my own responsibility. So I'm not here to and I'm thinking sure, Scott, we're not here to watch everybody else work. We're here to do our job as watching the quarterback and running the game. So, but on game film, I look at it and I go, oh, that's what they were talking about on the field. I just saw a blindside. They wanted us to call a blindside block in one of our games on Thursday. And I just looked at it and I don't think it was myself, but it wasn't bad enough. They made it sound like it was, they wanted to call 911 or something. So, but it wasn't quite that bad.
It was that bad, huh?
It was pretty wild. People. But yeah. So we don't, and I'm pretty sure Scott's the same way. We got our own responsibilities, and one of them isn't holding everybody's hand on the crew.
All right, I think we have time for one more. Hero, I'm going to call on you again to pull up Brady's clip.
I'll pull up Brady's clip.
Yeah, unless Brady, you have it. You want to pull it up?
Dave, could I ask one other question, Dave? But while they're pulling up the clip, just going back to the free kick in the case book, there's good examples about whether it's inbounds, out of bounds, and so on and so on. But just the one really simple one: if a free kick goes and R is going to catch the ball and it's near the sideline, and R is touching out of bounds, just in a normal catching fashion, 1 foot inbounds, 1 foot out of bounds, and they catch the ball, is it just an out of bounds kick and there's a flag on it? I'm assuming the answer is yes. Okay.
Brady went off mute. I was wondering if he even thought it was something he wanted to share.
No, yeah, you can share it. It's not me. Yeah, share
it. You're like, yeah.
All right. So game situation. This is late in the game. Claremont's getting the pants beat off of them. I think Claremont's losing by 40 something at this point. The line judge beat himself up over this pretty hard, thinking that he took a turnover away from Claremont. But I think he nailed it. I just want everybody to see it. It's fine. So we're gonna have a pass down the sideline. There's gonna be some hand fighting, and then the line judge is gonna call incomplete here. He said it just happened really fast. Claremont jumps on it, reacts as though it's a fumble, but he's selling it pretty hard.
It's that time.
Yeah,
Football moving time.
Just real time, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you, Brady. I think he nailed it.
Yeah.
That's incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
And see, in this play, you don't move. You just turn and watch. Just turn and watch. You don't even need to move on this play. And you know what else? That sideline is freaking terrible. We need to move those guys out of the restricted area.
Yeah, we had in this game we had 3 unsportsmanlike penalties against UC High in the first half. There were offsetting personal fouls in the end zone, dead balls. It was a nasty game, very one-sided game, and UC was beating up on these guys pretty hard.
It doesn't matter. This should be this should be cleaned up, because you know what? You just left a mess for the next crew to come in. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So the next crew is going to come in here. It might be Scott or myself. And these guys will be out of the restricted area.
Oh, yeah.
They will be out.
We're there. Safety, sportsmanship, fair play. That's what we're there for, right? This is a significant safety issue.
Right.
Right? Number one. Number two, I guess it's 1A and 1B. Dave's absolutely correct. I come in after this and I got to deal with this. I'm hunting you guys down.
Yeah. This is bad.
If this was a pick, right?
It's
going to go 6. It's going to go the other way, and that line judge has no hope. Is that fair?
Right.
Yep.
But that's why we want it cleared.
He's gonna run into one of those big boards.
That is your job. I mean, that is your job. You're expected to keep that cleared, and that's for your own safety.
Wow.
You know, that's for your own safety. That's not for me. I will never run into those guys on the sideline. You know, so it's not for me. But yeah, that's got to be cleaned up, big time. You know, if it was like that the whole game, and I guarantee you, it was probably like that the whole game. You know, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I can confirm. I was just recording fouls for this game, but yeah, it was a mess the whole game.
Yeah. So you know, I'm just glad I don't have UC, and I'm sure Scott is glad he's not getting UC this year.
Exactly.
So, because there was no way there's no way we could tolerate that stuff. And we didn't put up with it.
So you have to
Cathedral
clear
on
out the
Matter Day.
restricted area.
Yeah, we didn't put up with it with Matter Day and Cathedral on Friday.
Yeah.
Fallbrook and Vista was very good about it. In fact, Fallbrook, I think, was lined up in Vista. And we were at Fallbrook. I mean, they were behind, they weren't just outside the restricted area. I think they were outside the soccer line. So
they got the message.
Follow-up question. If you could put that back up there. I just noticed on the sideline, 2 players are holding up signs or some kind of something with pictures on it. That's how they call their offense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's play.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes they have some interesting women on those things. Taylor Swift. And,
the most entertaining is Colorado with their big black flags. I mean, that's like the most. It just blocks all kind of viewing for the fans.
Yeah, most of that means nothing. And I talked to one coach, and they say they just put them up there for distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, right here, we've got 3 coaches on the field right now, and we're still trying to officiate this play.
See, and this line judge is doomed coming back. There's no way he would cover an interception or a fumble return.
Yeah.
And plus, if you have a little fisticuff over here, these guys are so close, they'd be on top of you in a hurry.
Right.
So yeah, we got to clear the sidelines, and that was our main focus. So
I have a play from Friday night, since we're talking about inbounds, out of bounds, and kicks. So if you guys don't mind me sharing.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
Sure, absolutely.
Please do.
Hopefully you can see my screen.
Mhm.
Okay, a couple things. I'm going to run it from here. This is a free kick, but there's a couple things I want to point out. 56 seconds left in the
First half.
second quarter. 34 to 57.
Oof.
The game ended up 48 to 77.
Wow.
oh, you had Patrick Henry.
I had Patrick Henry Grossman. Look at the number of plays in this game. 234 plays in this game.
Well, Grossman, we had him in a scrimmage. They had a fast offense where.
Oh, they have a fast offense, and they have a quarterback that can throw the ball. He just doesn't know where he's throwing it to. They had a completion rate of less than 30%. Game took forever. We got off the field at 10-12. But that's not what I'm bringing up. So what we have here, I'll run it back slow. Free kick, right? And like I was saying, they're kind of doing this all night. Little pooch kick to the sideline. It bounces, goes right past R. R never touches the ball. He goes to get it, he gets blocked, and it's recovered at the sideline. So first of all, can K recover this ball and keep the ball?
Yep.
If
If
they
it was
recover
grounded,
it,
yeah, if it was
they
grounded and
would-
went more than 10.
right. So recovered the ball. If they recover the ball,
Right.
where's the point of where do they get the ball? So if we're going here, touch there, and he slides forward and goes out of bounds.
Where he touched it. Wasn't it?
Where he touched it, right? It should be back here. If we're gonna have K with the ball, it's where they first touched it, even though they recovered it further down, right? That makes sense?
Mhm.
So that's something I have to look for. In this particular case, R was the asshole and said, no, there's no recovery because he touched it and his foot was out of bounds when he finally gained control. He was bobbling it the whole time as he's trying to recover it. His foot was out of bounds. R has the view from inside out, right? Head linesman's trying to come downfield. He's moving downfield. You see him right here. He's moving, trying to make this call. And he's looking through a bunch of different players. So this is one where, again, we take it slow. We make sure that we have positive information, and then we make the ruling. But since I ruled this out of bounds because he didn't have recovery of this, we went back 5 yards and replay. Or actually, I'm sorry, we didn't. We moved it up from 5 from here. Right?
Why isn't the headlinesman already closer?
Head linesman
Should
starts
be
at
on
the
the
50.
Yeah.
Right? Head linesman starts at the 50, and that ball goes up. You don't want to be moving right away. This is a pop-up kick. Not a pop-up, I'm sorry. That's a specific definition. Right? So he's watching blocks, making sure everything's cool. Now it's grounded. Now I'm going to turn, make sure there's no contact, and now he starts moving downfield.
So were you saying that the ball should be spotted at the first as a side of touching?
Is it not at the side of touching? First touching, like K?
No, it should be where the
He doesn't have
recovery is.
possession.
Repossessed it.
Regain possession.
Well, he gained possession out of bounds, so
Okay, so it's an out of bounds play.
that's what we did.
Yeah. So it's out of bounds. I just misheard you. I thought you brought it back to the spot of where you touched it.
No, we took it out of bounds. He
Oh, I
recovered it out of bounds, and then we went back. Actually, we went up because it's a kick out of bounds, right?
Mhm.
At the 37. So we go from here.
Yep.
And then put the ball in play. Now, unfortunately, what happened on this is you know, the white hat's back at the goal line and he's moving up, and you know, this is his, I think this was my 9th game so far. So I'm coming over as calm as I can to make sure what's going on, but my line judge is already pointing. I'm sorry, my head linesman is already pointing. So Patrick Haney runs on the field. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm running up saying, no, 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 no. Let's talk about this a little bit. And I had it bobbled and foot out of bounds, so we're going to go there. So a lot of stuff going on in kicks, right? We talk about, you know, when stuff happens on games, it happens on kicks because we don't have a lot of them during the game. This is 234 plays and 77 points scored on one side. We had a lot of kicks on this game. And we had some funky stuff going on. But
and like I say, kicks,
Looked like a
and
blowout.
skirmish kicks and free kicks were also all spread out. I mean, we're spread out half the field, right? Yep. When the back judge or the guys on the free kick, the back judge is on the 40, and the referee's on the goal line, so we're 60 yards apart. And that's what makes this part of the game so difficult to officiate, because we're all spread out. And so are the players. That's why we miss all these blindside blocks in the kill zone, what we call it. And yep. That's why we miss it, because we're so spread out. So,
but a high school game reaching 70 points, wow.
No, the high school game reached 125 total points, 77 on one side. Yeah.
125 points.
Okay. It was 48 to 77, and at one point it was 28 to nothing. Grossmont. Oh. Patrick Henry took this at 77. And
you get them.
Wow, I was there for the scrimmage. It didn't look like they were that good, but hey, I guess they are.
And my favorite part of this game, with about, I think it was 1:10 left, Patrick Henry had the ball and they're running it. They're trying to kill the clock, right? We're at 29 points. We didn't have a 35-point spread, so we didn't have a running clock. But they're trying to run it out, and they have their third string in. Grossmont player comes in, tackles the running back, and I throw a face mask. I hear the collective moan from both sides of the field. It's like, oh, we got another foul. Right. And I swear to you, I heard Dave's voice in my head. What are you doing? But the kid grabbed his helmet, reached around, grabbed the face mask, and turned and twisted until he ripped his helmet off.
That's a safety foul, Scott. I expect you to call that.
And it was in the middle of the field.
I would not moan about that. I only moan about free kick infractions. Then I start moaning. We had one of those. We had one of those on Friday, and I just told Ryan, so you missed the chaka dance or whatever dance they wanted to call that, and he calls a free kick infraction. I'm like, I don't want the free kick infraction. Call the chaka dance the next time, and I'll have that play next week. But I heard of it. The free kick infraction was pretty bad, though, from my life. Whoever else was up there, he said it was pretty bad. So.
When they get big, you have to do that. No, it was like, I'm like watching. I'm like, don't do it. Oh my god.
See, I think Katie was out there back judge when I sat there. Goes, don't do it, and the kid nailed him in the back in the scrimmage, and I just threw the flag. So that's half the fun. That's half the fun with the game. Anyways.
All right. Little extra, but it was great. Seeing an extra clip. So Scott, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all the flag wisdom. Carroll, thanks for being in my video person tonight. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thank you, Scott.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Good night.